Ever feel overwhelmed by a sea of product ideas, endless chats, and scattered notes? Mind maps could be the solution. They provide a singular, clear canvas that connects every idea, user story, and decision. For decades, mind maps have helped product teams explore ideas, validate concepts, lay out user experiences, and organize requirements. Let's dive into how it works. Did you know that people have over 6,000 thoughts bouncing around their heads daily? That means our minds are constantly jumping from one idea to another. And they don't move in straight lines either. Instead, our brains are more like a spider web, making associations, linking thoughts together, and creating this huge network of connections. Here's an example. Think of a coffee.
Coffee first.
We bet you don't actually see the written word coffee flashing in your mind. Instead, you might imagine a steaming cup of your favorite brew, which leads you to a labyrinth of connected thoughts like, coffee helps me wake up in the morning. The cafe next door serves great cappuccino. I should buy some fresh coffee beans. How is coffee grown and harvested? Drinking too much coffee makes me jittery, and so on. See? It's like a thought tsunami. That's how our brains work, and precisely how mind mapping works.
A mind map is a thinking tool that reflects externally what goes on inside your head.
At its core, mind mapping is a visualization technique that organizes information around a single central idea. Related concepts branch out in a radial hierarchical manner. See how branches farther from the center get thinner? This tree-like structure represents the level of detail from general to specific. The branches you add might not necessarily follow the same logical paradigm. The main thing is that they somehow relate to the central theme. As in our coffee example, naturally, we don't think in strict categories like coffee types, bean species, origin region, and so on, right? The mind map reflects this human non-linear way of thinking. Now, instead of forcing your thoughts into a frankly boring, rigid list, you've got all that internal chaos organized in an intuitive, easy-to-understand visual. Much nicer, right? Interestingly, while people have been using similar visual methods for centuries, the term mind map didn't become a thing until the late 1960s, thanks to British psychologist Tony Buzan. Here's a mind map about himself. As you can see, they even describe people. Anyway, as a student, Tony started questioning traditional linear notes. He believed they were boring, hard to memorize, and restrictive for creative thinking. So he looked for a different approach. He started to underline or box keywords, use different colors, and connect related ideas. The more visual elements he used, the easier it was to remember information. But why? What's the magic behind all of this? Here's the thing. About 80% of the information we take in is visual. For thousands of years, we've been hardwired to process what we see. No wonder our brains just love visuals. Studies show that we naturally use imagery when thinking about stuff. They also show that we remember information we see better than information we hear. But what sets mind maps apart from other visualization techniques is their unique radial structure. This setup mimics the brain's associative thinking. As we visually represent the connections and relationships between ideas, we create a complete, clear schema of the concept that our brains easily understand. Think of it as a well-organized filing cabinet. You've got all your papers nicely stored in labeled, easy-to-find folders. Then, seeing both the big picture and the details all at once, we can integrate new information with what we already know, making it easier to retain and recall, just like putting another file into the right folder. But that's not all. This distinct structure also boosts creativity. In scientific terms, it stimulates divergent thinking, the ability to generate various ideas in response to a prompt. Mind maps stand out for their unique balance of a structured approach and free-flowing creative thinking. On top of that, adding colors and images to mind maps is also based on science. We know that the left side of the human brain processes words, while the right side deals with imagery, colors, and other visual stimuli. So when you see images along with text, you are triggering both hemispheres to take part in a cognitive process. And why settle for one when two is better, right? That's why mind maps have proven to be an effective tool for learning, teaching, planning projects, understanding complex topics, and much more. So, how can it be applied in software development? Well, the most popular use case for mind mapping is brainstorming. Actually, if brainstorming had a logo, it would probably be a mind map. Let's say we're building a nutrition app. At the initial discovery stage, we need to define the key things: project objectives, users, main features, and so on. That's what mind mapping is perfect for. It allows you to scarf up the ideas, immediately organizing the flow of thoughts into an easily scannable structure. And while it's great for team collaboration, a lot of people use mind maps on their own to generate and arrange ideas. Then they can present their maps to the team and other stakeholders to give everyone a clear view of the big picture. Speaking of stakeholders, mind maps can also be used to capture client needs and discuss project scope. This process is known as requirements solicitation. So let's say we're in a focus group meeting, gathering user expectations for our nutrition app. As we listen to participants, the ideas are likely to be all over the place. Jane wants vegan recipes, Bob expects a meal plan for his muscle gain, and Sarah needs precise calorie calculations. That's where the beauty of mind maps come in. The radial structure helps us stay organized amidst the flood of ideas. We can add requirements to the mind map directly as stakeholders speak, whether it's functional requirements like recipe search feature or non-functional ones related to the app's performance. By the way, if you want to dive deeper into working with requirements, we've got a detailed video on that. Definitely check it out. Once the requirements are defined, we can continue working with them within our mind map. We can break down big features into smaller, more manageable components. The big epic branch of meal tracking includes user story sub-branches, manual entry, and barcode scanner that in turn have their acceptance criteria twigs. We can then visually categorize them to reflect priorities and link related ones to show dependencies. This helps us estimate effort, plan releases, and here's the cool part, we can add these tasks directly to the backlog. From there, they're easy to track and manage, keeping everything aligned and on schedule for smooth development. The next one is about understanding user flow. As a product team, we must ensure users glide through our app like it's their favorite ride at an amusement park, smooth, fun, and hassle-free. The hierarchical structure of mind maps can help visualize this journey. Imagine the journey a user takes when they first open your app. It starts with signing up, then goes to onboarding, and eventually leads them to the core features. By mapping out each part, we can easily spot any roadblocks, confusing steps, or places where one might think, wait, what now? Mind maps let us see the entire user journey at a glance, so we can fix the bumps before anyone gets to them. Creating the system architecture is another important process. Engineers need to figure out what components the app needs. They must decide on the application layer, databases, load balancers, caching mechanisms, and APIs. Mind mapping can come in handy for that as well. You can sketch out all these essential system elements and turn it into a blueprint that helps onboard new developers and keeps everyone on the same page. On the flip side, designers are busy creating the information architecture of the app. And guess what? Mind maps can help here too. The idea is the same. A mind map can help plan the app interface and organize content and features optimally. It's like making sure the furniture is placed just right so no one stubs their toe on a coffee table. There are many more processes where mind maps can be applied. They can help you build roadmaps and brainstorm problem solutions, take meeting notes, and set tasks. When you master them, mind maps can become your Swiss Army knife of product development. Ready to try it out? Let's get practical and talk about how to create effective mind maps. Well, you probably got the drill by now. Place your main idea in the center and start building a network of associations. But there are still a few tips we'd like to share with you. First, the medium. Traditionally, mind maps were sketched by hand. This approach is still considered to be more effective because the physical act of drawing, writing, and creating connections with your own hand engages more of your brain than typing. This motor sensory involvement helps boost memory, cognitive processing, and the free flow of ideas. Plus, let's be honest, hand-drawn maps have that unique, personal touch that makes them extra special. However, when it comes to sharing and collaborating, pen and paper just don't cut it, especially for teams working remotely. Besides that, editing a digital mind map is much simpler, and you can also add links, notes, and comments, so pick a tool that works for you. MindMeister, Xmind, and Miro are some popular ones. Use colors to categorize ideas. Color coding boosts memory and makes maps easier to read. Tony Buzan recommended using at least 3 different colors. Also, add images, icons, or symbols to represent concepts whenever possible. Remember the left and the right halves of the brain working together? Imagery stimulates visual memory and provokes further creativity. Mr. Buzan insisted that the central idea must also be an image instead of a word to boost that creative process. His favorite saying was about a picture being worth 1,000 words. He took it quite literally and believed that a mind map with 10 pictures could replace 10,000 words.
A picture is worth 1,000 words. So if you have images throughout your mind map, then you are going to automatically have more powerful memory, more stimulation, more interest, more generative thought.
Use keywords instead of long descriptions. Succinct labels make the map less cluttered and easier to grasp at a glance. Mr. Buzan compared these key ideas to exploding supernovas that radiate with more associations. In general, avoid overcomplicating your map. Sometimes people try to add too many details or make the map too busy. Keeping it simple and clean is key to making it useful. Next, use curves. While it might seem unimportant, Mr. Buzan advised avoiding straight lines. The thing is that our brains like curves as they are associated with safety and natural forms. This fact is widely used in architecture and design, so why not apply it to our mind map too?
In a mind map, the branches are always curved, curvilinear. Reason why? Nature is curvilinear. And if all the branches are straight, it is literally rigid, similar, and therefore boring. The brain will very quickly get unhappy with a whole bunch of rigid, straight lines. It gets absorbed and intrigued by the beauty of curvilinear.
While many digital tools provide box-based mind map templates, Mr. Buzan suggested writing keywords on top of branches. Our minds tend to see boxes as visual barriers that can restrict the flow of ideas. As a result, it can be harder for the brain to make spontaneous connections. And a couple more things. If you do mind mapping with the team, encourage collaboration. Let everyone get creative and contribute their ideas. After all, that's what brainstorming is about. And don't worry about repetition. Digital tools let you easily remove the unnecessary elements. And overall, mind maps don't have to be static. Depending on the purpose of your map, you might want to update it over time to reflect progress or adapt it to changes in strategy or objectives. Of course, mind maps aren't the only visualization technique. You've got flowcharts, swim lane diagrams, Gantt charts, sticky notes on a whiteboard, the list goes on. Each of them has its pros and cons, and mind maps aren't perfect either. For one, when the topic gets too big or complex, your mind map can quickly turn into a chaotic mess of branches, making it hard to follow. Plus, if you're trying to simplify an idea to just one word or image per branch, you might end up leaving out important details. Finally, because mind maps are so personal, they might not always be the best for collaboration. Different people might organize information in completely different ways. But hey, despite the limitations, mind maps are definitely worth trying. So see if that works for you. Chances are, you not only get a productivity boost, but also make your project documentation more engaging and easier to understand. Check out our full overview of the documentation you'll need and share in the comments below what you think of mind mapping and which visual techniques you use. See you in the next video.